Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome to the second episode of my 2020 prep series. I'm actually up in London today. I'm just about to head off to the gym. So to begin this video, I am going to go to King's Gym in Croydon, take you guys with me, and we'll go through one of my full push sessions. So yeah, let's go. Okay, I don't know if you can see me or not, it depends how well this camera adjusts, but on the way to Morrison's, I just desperately need a piss, and it's always the same. Have a Monster Energy. If I have a Monster Energy, there's pre-workout, I leave the door, and then I'm bursting to go to the toilet, so still got like a 10-15 minute walk to King's Gym from the train station. I don't think I'm going to make it that long. Okay, I decided while I'm in Morrison's, although I'm probably going to have to come in after to get some food, get some dark chocolate to have a little snack on before I get to the gym. So, decided to get some Rice Krispie, what are they fucking called? Rice cakes, dark chocolate rice cakes. Obviously, started the mini cut, which I'm going to go for after this session, but it means that I'm getting a little bit hungry, and because it took me slightly longer to get ready for the gym because I'm recording than it normally does, just gonna have a little snack on these before I go. Okay, what's going on guys? So into the training session. I'm actually back home. I'm gonna do a voiceover of this just because King's Gym is so noisy inside that it's literally impossible to actually record anything in person. I don't usually train here, so a lot of the things that you're gonna see are gonna be slightly different to normal. For example, this is how I'm gonna be warming up my lats. I do this every push session. I do it every pull session as well, obviously, but push session with pressing movements, you are going to be engaging your lats. It's really important. So I always do this prior to doing anything else. It's just warming up my lats, getting them engaged. And, you know, if I'm doing some sort of cable like rowing movement, which is obviously just with one arm, I feel like it's probably one of the best movements to do, especially for me. Also do some dynamic stretching. I literally don't give a fuck what I look like in the gym. I just put my headphones on, just crack on with what I do. I do all sorts of things that you probably don't see many people do, but it helps. The dynamic stretching, all the windmill movements and stuff, like they do massively help my shoulder mobility, and allow me to be like relatively mobile even when in a big bulk, and obviously, you know, prevent me getting injuries. So, started off by doing, a dumbbell press, flat bench. I don't always do this as the first movement, but due to the lack of like cables in King's Gym, I did dumbbell press first today. Start off with some light movements, just really like focusing on just the form and execution. You'll see while I'm doing this, a big mistake a lot of people make with pressing and dumbbells is that they press towards the center. Obviously, when you're doing some sort of chest movement on a machine, you know, that probably is the case. You probably do want to press towards the center, kind of squeeze your chest together. However, when you're doing a lying dumbbell press, when you do that, you are probably going to actually take a lot of the tension off of your chest. You're going to, like, you know, prevent your lats from staying engaged. So ideally, you want to go kind of straight up, or even out to the side a little bit, rather than kind of press to the middle. You know, I haven't always done this, but it's something that I've learnt over the last few years, and it does massively help. It means that you don't have to lift as much weight, and you can get more out of the exercise. So I think that this was the top set, one of the top sets I did, which was 60 kilos, obviously 60 kilo dumbbells. I think it was something like 5 reps. You'll notice the range of motion as well. A lot of people are, it's half reps, it's half reps. This is my active range of motion for my chest. I'm not trying to get my elbows down parallel with the side of my body. If I did this, I'll be putting way too much pressure on my shoulder joint, on my rotator cuffs and stuff like that, which isn't the idea. Like if I was doing a powerlifting comp or something like that, and I was doing bench, then yeah, maybe that I would have to do that to be able to get like the green lights. But you know, I'm bodybuilding. The idea of this exercise is simply to put as much load on my chest as possible. So I retract my lats, I pop my chest out, and then I bring my elbows down to the point where, you know, it begins like putting pressure on my like kind of rotator cuffs, my shoulder and stuff like that, and then I'll stop. I'm not going to continue going because it's just unnecessary. Then what you are doing is you're putting pressure on your passive tissue, such as like your ligaments and stuff like that, which will help you get more reps, but you know, at the cost of obviously doing damage to them. So second set, I think I did a 50 kilo set, and then I think these were 45s. Put my feet up on the bench. I actually really like doing this. I don't know, I'm not too sure why. I think it kind of takes some of the stabilization obviously out of it, but I find that actually it helps me concentrate on like the actual form, and like kind of control of the actual pressing. But yeah, obviously it's worth trying. I really like it. I'm probably going to start doing it more often. Overhead press with like obviously dumbbells, so dumbbell shoulder press. This isn't a movement I do massively. It's actually one of the areas that I need to work on, because I have quite good front delts, so I don't really need to do much delt work, if that makes sense. But I do find, because I don't do a massive amount of overhead pressing, it has become a bit of like a weak area for me. So I don't lift heavy on it. I did lift heavy on it before and ended up kind of pulling something in my back, which I'm still having slight issues with now, which I massively regret doing. But yeah, I take this, like, go quite light on this. I think these are probably like 30s or something like that, 36s. I don't want to fully extend the elbow, because as soon as you do that, again, you're putting all the pressure on the joint. You see a lot of people obviously go right up to the top like this, hold it, and then go back down. But you know, the idea is to keep the kind of load on the muscle that you're obviously trying to load. So that doesn't mean that you want to kind of like fully extend. Going into the next exercise, it's going to be a chest fly. Not a great machine, this. Like, one of the issues I have with King's Gym is I think a lot of the kit in there is shit. Like, sorry if anyone from King's Gym is watching this, but the kit in there, a lot of the equipment is crap, like, kit. Yeah, like, it's not a great... I used the D handles on this just to kind of get like a better connection with the machine, and obviously allow me to kind of rotate my wrists as they kind of want to be rotated. But still, it's just like it's not a great machine, this. Like, ideally, you kind of want machines to mimic your body. So it's like with a leg extension, you want the machine to almost mimic you doing that leg extension. With a lot of machines, like the kind of like pivots and stuff are in the wrong place. Like where they load the muscle is kind of at the wrong place, so it just kind of throws everything off. And I find that with a lot of the equipment at this gym. It's a really cool gym, like the vibe and that's pretty cool, I guess, but I just think a lot of the equipment isn't particularly great. Same with this, like, really difficult, as you can see. It's really difficult for me to kind of fit in this machine. The knee pad is so far forward that it doesn't actually hold you down. But again, did some tricep dips, and then went on to doing cables. Again, with the cable machine, it's at a fixed position at the top, so it makes it really difficult to almost get a good contraction with this. Usually I'd like it lower down. Yeah, I used the flat bar, almost pressing it towards the floor. Again, this is focused on my tricep, and usually I'll do kind of 3 variations for triceps. So I'll do a kind of press down movement, like a dip, or a close press. I'll do something on some sort of extension going downwards, so it'll be like either like obviously like a rope extension, like a flat bar extension, something like that. And then I'll do something overhead. It's just to kind of challenge all 3 kind of ways in which you would want to extend your triceps. So it's you know, just as much for like functionability that it is for actual bodybuilding, and I try and incorporate that in a lot of my training as well. Although I'm a bodybuilder, I want to be functional. I don't want to just be able to kind of like perform like 1 or 2 different kind of movements and be like really like non-functional in other areas. So I try and incorporate that all, and that's the end of my push session. I hope that wasn't kind of too long. I thought I'd be chatting for ages, but actually it almost felt a little bit rushed. Going on to leg extensions, like this is like my favorite ab exercise. Abs are like a really good strong point for me, about me like kind of like trying to big myself up, but like genetically I've got good abs. I got really good connection with them because I used to train them since I was like 5 years old. I'm not even joking. I used to do like sit-ups in my room when I was like 8. So like I've got really good connection with my abs. It's why they kind of show through even when I'm fat as fuck, as like I am now. And yeah, leg extensions just work really well for me. I get a really good connection with them. Current condition, as I am at the minute, I believe I was around 222.5, something like that. Yeah, about 223, 224 pounds here, which is equivalent to about 103 kilos, I believe. Men's physique poses. I probably will be doing men's physique next year, as well as natural bodybuilding, which is going to be pretty exciting to see how much I've kind of changed. Just because that's kind of, I like the upper body physique for men's physique. So that's my current kind of condition, my current shape. Obviously got a lot of body fat on there. But still pretty happy with how like my abs and stuff are showing through. Like I've still got some like leg detail and stuff coming through, as you'll see in a minute. You know, I don't look fat, I still look like a bodybuilder, so I'm happy with how I am now. I'm obviously doing a mini cut, which I'll go through in a moment. But yeah, like this is basically what posing consists of. Obviously I was in here for like 15-20 minutes, and I'll do this post every session now. 15-20 minutes just spent on posing, focused on, you know, learning how my body like looks and stuff like that, how to contract muscles in different areas. It's really important. So just kind of going through like some of like the mandatory shots and stuff like that. Obviously a lot of the shots, and they're not going to look particularly great being so fat. But yeah, I'm liking the look of like a lot of these shots, like compared to before. Like, you know, my legs have grown, so they're kind of a little bit more in proportion to my upper body and stuff. Whereas before they were kind of a little bit out, I think. But I've still got some like detail here, like obviously in the quad, which is kind of nice. I do have like more detail on my left quad than my right, but my right is slightly kind of like denser, I think. I find that it's kind of, I remember hearing from like Chris Aceto when I was over in the US, and he said it's kind of like normal to have like one leg which is slightly more detailed and the other leg to be slightly more kind of like dense. So yeah, I assume it's depending on like what leg you are. So, straight out of one voiceover and into another. This is going to be me basically going over my prep plan for 2020, which I've essentially started now. So, yeah, I'm basically doing a 37-week cut, 37-week prep. Or I say 37-week cut / prep. Realistically, it's not a 37-week cut. I'm not staying in a calorie deficit for 37 weeks. But my preparation for my competition is 37 weeks. So let me go from the beginning, and I'm going to run through why my prep is so long, and what my kind of plan is going forward. Obviously, this is a plan. Plans change. So, you know, I don't expect everything on here to be like ticked off, and it's not boxes to be ticked off necessarily. It's just a guide which I am going to follow. At some points, I may fall behind. At some points, I may actually go ahead like I'm kind of at the moment. But let me just run through it so you understand it. So on the left here, we've got weeks out. And just to make it clear, this is all part of what like my clients and stuff get, who I coach obviously for shows and stuff like that. So this is essentially like the plan which I'm going to be using going forward. Weeks out, 37 weeks out. Obviously 36 essentially when you'll be seeing this video, because the 2nd of December is obviously the Monday, which is just gone. 36 weeks out, what phase I'm in. So obviously I'm doing a mini cut at the moment, which is going to last 6 weeks. In those 6 weeks, obviously the target weight here, as you can see, the rate of loss is going to be 2.5 pounds per week, which is relatively high, relatively aggressive, but at the same time, in a mini cut, that is kind of the point. The date, so obviously the date here is the date at the start of the week or each Monday, and then the target weight here, you know, obviously either it can be the beginning of the week or the end of the week. I think what I'm going to set it at is for the beginning of the week, just because I'm slightly ahead. And it makes sense that, you know, when you get to the 9th of December, for example, which is next Monday, then my target goal should be at 220 pounds. If I'm not at 220 pounds, then I am behind what the plan says. So that's kind of what I'm going at here. I've got potential issues here. So, you know, if there's anything throughout the prep on that week which may potentially throw like a spanner in the works, may potentially be something that I need to plan ahead for, then I'll put it in here. It just makes sure that when I get to a week, I can kind of plan ahead and know that if a week is going to be off, if I've got more work 1 week, if it's Christmas 1 week, for example, I can kind of plan in advance and make sure that I'm either ahead or behind, so that I'm actually kind of, you know, on track with everything. And then training phase here. So basically at the minute for this, I'm just putting in deloads. But when I kind of know in a little bit more detail what is going on with my training, then I can kind of plan a little bit more in here as well. But I'm pretty flexible when it comes to training usually. So for example, in potential issues, I had like, obviously I was in London, so it means I wasn't home, it means I was training in a different gym. prepping my food in a different environment, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I'm potentially moving in February, which I'll go into in a moment. But yeah, I'll just run you through my plan. So the first 6 weeks, we're going to be doing a mini cut. After that, I'm going to be going into a recomp. So the idea of a recomp is essentially going to be to bring my calories back up as high as possible. It's going to be to kind of maintain weight, potentially gain a little. I'm expecting to gain a little bit of weight in that because I really do want to push my calories kind of high. I want to, kind of almost shoot my metabolism back up. So obviously I'm going to be pushing the mini cut to kind of drop as much body fat as possible. Whilst doing that, your metabolism was also going to take a little bit of a hit. So obviously with the recomp, it's almost kind of going back into a bulk / a reverse diet. This phase here is to bring my calories back up whilst maintaining the condition that I've obviously achieved through the mini cut. So essentially then when I start my proper prep, which will be on the 10th of February, I will be leaner. I'll be eating just as many calories. I'll be stronger, and I'll be essentially at a far better position. I'll be at essentially be like 20 pounds lighter, but I'll be stronger and eating more food. So that's kind of like the idea of this, and why I've done a mini cut prior to obviously actually starting my proper prep, which is basically this get lean phase here. I color coordinate it as well, just on the difficulty. So obviously red means it's going to be pretty tough. Mini cuts are tough. Recomp, eating more food, not exactly tough. And then obviously get lean is kind of orange because it's like, it's kind of hard, kind of not. Again, when it comes to this, obviously weight goals. So when it comes to actually the get lean phase, what I've done is to begin with, it's going to be like 2 pounds a week, and then I'll drop it to 1.5 pounds because obviously the kind of leaner you get, the harder it is to lose body fat, and the less body fat you kind of want to lose when you're holding less body fat, just because it's kind of it's kind of like you want to be losing that same sort of percentage basically, which is obviously going to be more body fat the heavier you are and the fatter you are. Obviously, the idea of losing body fat slower as well is obviously to be able to maintain strength and maintain the muscle. If I continue losing 2.5 pounds per week, every single week from now until I stepped on stage, you'll probably find that my body is going to take a massive hit from that because it's staying in a huge calorie deficit for such a long period of time. Whereas if I minimize that and kind of put it to 1 pound, 1.5 pounds per week, it does mean that I should be able to continue progressing, or at least maintain my training progression, and obviously maintain all the muscle that I've currently got. Obviously potentially moving in February, which I'll probably go into a later video, but yeah, potentially moving house, going all the way up north, which would be quite cool. Obviously get lean. So this is basically the point until I'm at about 183 pounds. When I'm 183 pounds, I will be pretty shredded, like I will be pretty lean. I wouldn't be able to step on stage and get my glutes out, but I will probably be pretty shredded. From there on, so this will be the 1st of June. So this is going to be in the summer. I'm going to have a 2-week diet break. So after this kind of phase here of getting lean, which I believe is about 12 to 16 weeks, which would be like your normal competition prep kind of style. I'm going to have a 2-week diet break. And that diet break will be putting my food back up, kind of resetting everything, a bit like the obviously phase that I'm going to go through after this mini cut. Giving myself a bit of a rest. I'll include a deload in there, some extra calories. It'll be a time just to kind of switch off a little bit and just kind of, give myself a bit of a rest, because even psychologically, prep is a bit of a nightmare. Like it's a really difficult thing to do. So having this diet break, hopefully, will reset things. It'll put me in a really good position physically, psychologically, and then we'll go into the final phase, which I put as the fat-free phase, which is going from 182 pounds down to 175 for my first show, and that will be my first show. After that, I'll probably be competing throughout August and September, so I will just continuously getting leaner and leaner and leaner each week. And then obviously the idea would be to do qualifiers in August and September time. However, what happens in the qualifiers, hopefully I'll win some, hopefully I'll get through to some finals, but we have to wait and see. And then the idea would be to kind of reverse out of that into the British finals and stuff, which will obviously be kind of like end of September, October time, November time potentially. I'll reverse diet out of that, obviously, where I'll push my food up, continue to get leaner, and that will kind of be like the idea behind that. But yeah, that is my 2020 prep. Any questions, feel free to drop them down below, and I will get back to you. Any questions regarding anything at all, drop them down below, and like I said, I will answer every DM or every kind of comment that's dropped on this YouTube video. So feel free to ask if you want any questions. Apart from that, guys, thank you for watching the video. I'll see if I make this a bit bigger. But yeah, thank you for watching the video. Any questions you have, feel free to ask. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. It goes a long way. And I'll see you in the next one.